we live in the aftermath of a deep cultural revolution, of what is often called the sexual revolution. And we may not know about it, which makes us even more susceptible to its harmful influences. Have you heard about the salami tactics? It's like cutting salami in thin slices, You cut one off, no difference, you cut off another, and no noticeable difference, and so you keep going, until there's nothing left. That's salami tactics. Similarly, slices have been cut off from our understanding of marriage. Creator's design for our marriages is rich and beautiful. There is a lot in it, the whole package, the whole bouquet of good things. So how were those good things sliced away? What were those cultural factors and trends that contributed to the great confusion in which we live today? So let us briefly look at 8 of them. Can you guess a few of them? And most of them should be familiar to us. And some of them we may have embraced just as part of our culture. First, love was separated from marriage. Love from marriage. One was presented as good and another as bad. One was presented as being about excitement and affection and passion, colorful and intense. And the other, marriage, as being about toil and drudgery and burden and grey and boring and tasteless. Which one would you choose? Of course, love. And that's how two things which belong together were artificially and deceptively positioned as opposites, as if you need to choose what you want, love or marriage. Second, sex was separated from procreation. Sex from procreation. With the invention of the pill in 1960s, now sex wasn't about procreation anymore. Not about babies anymore. Not about potentially creating a new life. Only about my sexual pleasures. And thus sexual intimacy was actually emptied of its deepest meaning and made into something superficial and shallow. Third, sex was separated from marriage. Sex from marriage. If sexual intimacy is not about life, not about babies anymore, but only about my physical pleasures, why not? Let's go for it. Why to restrict it to marital relationships only? Let's make it free and open and accessible. And so we separated sex from loving relationships, from faithfulness, from trust, from commitment, from mutual care, from deep bonds of our souls. Let's just make it physical. Fourth, then came ideologies that preach that there are no fundamental differences between men and women, that both sexes are interchangeable, no differences, that all the differences are only imaginary, that they are only social constructs. And if we do not know anymore who we are as men and women, what are our chances that we will ever be happy? And later we will examine what our actual differences are. Fifth, parallel to these developments, something else took place. A fundamental shift in how we understand ourselves. And perhaps this is the main challenge of our times. This problem has been a long time in making, and we have gradually moved from the external reality-based perception of who we are, to desire-based psychological self-understanding, from objective to subjective. In the former, we needed to learn and understand what the reality is, who we are, what our relationships are about, what our responsibilities are, and then embrace them. In the latter, it is mainly about what I want and how I want it. No! Regardless of the cost for others, or even myself in a few years' time. It's about me, about instant gratification. And this may sound appealing on the surface, but the truth is, the universe and history does not bend according to our whims. If we are foolish, we will pay the price. And also people who care for us will suffer. 6. The understanding of marriage has changed. The focus of marriage used to be about serving another person. Probably not always, but... And now it has become mostly about me. I want someone who will satisfy my needs, my wants, my desires now. The most fulfilling part in all relationships, that is, the self-sacrificial giving and service, is forgotten. And so much joy and meaning is just thrown out of window. 7th, acceptance of cohabitation comes in. Let us live together without a real commitment, perhaps even without intentions for something permanent. Let us take this car for a spin, as the saying goes. Let's just use one another for a while, and let's keep our options open. Who knows? Maybe something better comes along. And that sounds like a popular crowd wisdom. In reality, it means embracing the mindset that this person is just a temporary solution, as we are waiting for the real deal to come our way. So we miss out on the peace and trust and commitment part that would enrich our relationships so much. 8th, children are separated from marriage. We have medical technology and legislation enabling new and new forms of obtaining a child. The initial intentions probably were good and noble, but we are able to make a mess from everything. As a result, today, children have become just one more commodity for our consumer culture. If I want them, I should have them. But what about children? What about their well-being? It seems it doesn't matter that much, as long as we adults get what we want. So, these are the 8 cultural trends that have greatly contributed to the demise of the institution of marriage.